Today we're going to do a little maintenance on our Bowflex. Please excuse the mess. I'm a reseller. If you're a reseller, you understand. This model here is the Bowflex Motivator 2, but most of your Bowflex models have these same power bars, and they have this power block that holds all the bars. What I've done, if you'll notice that the 50-pound bars are at the back, they should be up here. This block usually goes the other way around, and there's an area where you could slide on the adapter for the other two bars. Well, when this block's turned around the other way, these two holes are plugged and go underneath of here. Well, what I did was I took the block, cut off that end portion about 1 inch or so where you can slide on that extra coupler for the two bars. I cut that off, turned this around and stuck it back in, and I unplugged those two holes that used to be under here. And what it is it's another set of the 50-pound bar holes. So the reason for me doing this whole thing is because these holes, the notch in there that the bars slide into, are broke. That's quite common on these. But what I was able to do is continue to use this block. I think I might have had to use the multi-tool and shave down the side just a little bit on the bottom edge on both sides to get it to slide all the way in here. But I was able to get it to work and not have to buy a new block. Got a couple of Phillips head screws that need to be removed here on the bottom. Got to remove these 4 screws as well. Don't think you necessarily need to do this if you're just changing the block, but because I turned this one around and put it in backwards, I gotta remove these. The back ones can be a little bit stubborn. I had to get out a ratchet for the back ones. I've already replaced both of these cables. You can see these black fragments on the floor. That's from the old ones. They start flaking. So I replaced this set here, and shortly before it, I replaced this set. I'll put links down below in the down below this video if I find them available at the time of posting this video. And I will also put a link to a new block. All right, let's get it out of there. Okay, here's the old block. You can see where I chopped off that end where you would hook on that block for the other two rods. I just cut that off, and no, actually I didn't have to do anything to the side. Just cut that end off and slide it in the other direction. Of course, I had to leave these two smaller bars out, but yeah, they never really get used. So it worked, but I had already ordered a new block, and it showed up just a few days after doing this, but now it's time to put it in. But I wanted to show you, see that bar spinning all the way around. That means when you're flexing that bar, when you're pulling on it up here, it's also spinning. So that bar is nowhere near as strong as it would be if it stayed where it belonged down here. They break off that plastic piece in there and the bar will spin. And that is not good. That one's spinning. Let's see. Yeah, both of those are spinning on both sides. Now the 50-pounders, those are in those new holes. They're not going anywhere. But what we're going to do is we're going to put the new block on. And it's just a bunch of Phillips screws. Pretty gnarly, but hey, it worked for a while. It looks a little better, at least until they snap again, right? It's only plastic. All right, just gotta put the puzzle back together. Now I'll just do the same thing with this block when it wears out. I'll turn it around temporarily, cut off that end, put it back together, and run with that for a little while. Putting this back together now, I'm still not going to put the small power rods in. We just don't use them. Alright, double check them all. Don't want them too darn tight, just snug. Don't want to be snapping plastic. Seems everything's made of plastic nowadays. I know we'd be lost without it, but wow, do we have to make everything out of it? I'm leaving the 2 5-pounders out of there because we don't use them. And then there's those 2 extra 50s in the back that will just go in under those pegs in the framework. All right, let's put it back in there. It's always fun doing things holding the camera. There we go. Just like downtown, right? See, when I put this box in backwards, the bars, I was using these 2 holes because these 2 are bad. The power bars wanted to rub here, so I could not get this plate slid all the way in to bolt it on the bottom. So I ground it so I could slide that on without bumping the bars, and it worked fine. You know, if you want to cheat and still use your system without buying a block, and you don't use the 5-pound bars, then this will do the trick. All right, got it back together. I always leave that 3rd screw out. That screws into the plastic. That one's just a bear to get to because you're at a kind of a funky angle here. And then these 2, I'm leaving out right now. I'm gonna go to the hardware store and I'm gonna replace all 4 of these with something that's got a hex head. Because, you know, these fasteners are fine, but they're not very deep. And when you get back here, you're at a bit of an angle, and they're just a pain. So I'm gonna put something on there where I can throw like a 7/16 or a 1/2 inch on. Be a whole lot easier when replacing this. There's what it looks like back together. Like I said, when one of these has that plastic insert shear off, I'll just turn this thing around again, because underneath of these metal tabs, there's those other 2 50-pound bar holes that are brand new. I can see the bars are sitting much better. We'll get the cables on there and see if there's a bit of a difference. I know the ones that had the plastic tabs broke were bowed way towards me. They were twisting. That's it, guys. Pretty quick, easy fix. This works on most Bowflex models. Any of them that have that block that all the power bars go into. If the block looks like that, that's it. That's how you replace it. That'll do it for this video. If you enjoyed this content, please hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.